Chopping it up with Ramel. Chopping it up with Ramel. Chopping it up with Ramel. Notes straight from the throat. Chopping.
Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to everybody. Hope everybody has had a good weekend, a blessed weekend, and an enjoyable weekend. But it wouldn't be no weekend without taking time out to chop it up with you guys about some of the latest things in sport. We're going to touch on the NBA. We got the free agency frenzy going on, player movement. We're going to talk a little bit of boxing about Pacquiao last night. And we also going to talk a little bit about the upcoming All-Star game, especially the Homerun Derby with Aaron Judge. But first, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to be part of the show, please hit me up, 706-801-5926. Be part of the show. We're going to talk a little bit about basketball, baseball, and boxing. So if you want to be part of the show, 706-801-5926. Let's start in the NBA. Right now, free agency has come. It started on 12:01 a.m. Saturday morning, July 1st. And right before it, there was a lot of blockbuster moves that took place. The trade of Jimmy Butler, the trade of Chris Paul, the firing of Phil Jackson, the trade of Paul George to OKC. Just so much to talk about in such a little time. Please join in, be part of the show. Give me a call, 706-801-5926. Where do I begin? The firing of Phil Jackson couldn't come at a better time. Any time was a good time. I just wish it would have happened sooner. Right now, with all the player movement that's going on, the effects of waiting this long to fire Phil has New York shut out in this player movement that's taking place, whether it's via trade or via free agent. Right now, it looks like the Knicks is going to come back with the same team, possibly a one-year deal with Derrick Rose at the point guard position. My question to the Knicks fans like myself, if Derrick Rose comes back without Phil Jackson and Jeff Hornacek is the coach of this team going forward, and he's able to do what he would like to do without having someone breathing on his neck and insistent on the triangle, could the Knicks be a more successful team this year? That's the question going further. Since they're being shut out in this free agency, they had their eyes on Jeff Teague. He signs with Minnesota. They had their eyes on possibly Chris Paul. He's traded. They had their eyes on several little players, but everybody seems to head to a destination that did not include the Knicks. Did the firing of Phil Jackson occur too late that currently causes the Knicks to be shut out? What is the next move for New York at this point? Shout out to Eddie. He says yes. And you know, that's the thing. New York, once upon a time, was a destination for everyone not to come play, but want to be on the team. The Garden is the Mecca. Doesn't appear that way with the lack of success that the team has had, but at the same time, the Garden is the place to play. The stars come out. The fans are knowledgeable. The fans are wild. The fans are crazy. They're in your corner. They're against you. They cheer for you. They boo you. But there's no other place to play but at the Garden. And why is it that the Knicks cannot seem to attract anyone to come play to the Garden? Who was the last free agent signing that was somebody of significant? Amari Stoudemire. Prior to that, who was it? Was it Allen Houston? Was it Allen Houston? Now I'm with you, Ed. I'm not against drafting the point guard out of France. Okay, I think we should have went with Dennis Smith, but I don't think he's ready. And because I don't think he's ready, someone like Kyle Lowry would be an excellent pickup on a short-term deal. 2 years, 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal. I think that's someone they need to go after. Currently, as assembled, they say the Knicks have somewhere between $15 and $17 million to spend on a free agent. Kyle Lowry is going to cost you somewhere about $25 million per, $27 million per year. They're going to have to make a trade somewhere. There should be a taker for Courtney Lee. There should be a taker for Kyle O'Quinn. Okay? If the New York Knicks are shut out and not able to sign anybody with some significance to go along with Porzingis and Carmelo, this pains me to say it, but Carmelo cannot suit up in a New York uniform for the 2017-18 season. They will need to trade him for some youth movement. Listen, you got the trade of Paul George to OKC. You got the trade of Jimmy Butler to Minnesota. Both of their teams, Indiana and Chicago, made the playoffs last year. You got to figure those two teams will be out of the playoffs. By trading away their two best players, their top players, they should be out of the playoff picture. You got to admire what Philly did. They're figuring this is an opportunity to go from worse and into the playoffs. Why not take a chance and give J.J. Redick $23 million for 1 year? A veteran that can come in there, playoff tested, not disrupt anything of a youth movement, but show some veteran leadership and, spread the court and hit a jump shot. Why not go for it? Me personally, I think Philly is going to grab the 7th seed in the playoffs. I wish I could say that for New York at this point. The only thing that New York has going for them right now is that Phil is out of the huddle and Jeff Hornacek might be able to bring in his brand of offense without someone breathing on his back like a mean dragon. But does that mean that it will result to wins? As the Knicks continue year after year to be shut out of the NBA free agent season that takes place on July 1st every year. I mean, I'm hearing names like Shelvin Mack. Are you kidding me? Shelvin Mack. They couldn't even get a sit down with Drew Holiday. Jeff Teague went to Minnesota just like that. Patty Mills, never even thought about him. He re-signs quickly with San Antonio. They had their eye on Sean Livingston. And? So the 3 remaining point guards that are out there that might be helpful for New York to help with the maturation and the growth of Frank Ntilikina from France, you have left on the market is George Hill, Rondo, and Kyle Lowry. Do you think the Knicks will have a chance to grab one of those? If you want to be part of the show, give me a call, 706-801-5926. Once again, 706-815926. It's despicable. Even Brooklyn made a trade for D'Angelo Russell. New York hasn't done anything. And I don't see any movement. Again, if they don't sign someone of significance, then I'm afraid. And I'm as big as they come when it comes to a Melo fan. I'm afraid they're going to have to trade Melo before the season and really go into a youth movement. A buyout is not the question. Don't buy him out because you need to get something for him. I don't care what it is. You got to get something for him. And I'm not talking Iman Shumpert and Shannon Fry. We need to get younger. If New York cannot sign someone, and I tell you what, I'll be happy if they sign Dave Griffin, the former president of Cleveland. I would accept that sign, because at least that's someone with a little bit of history that knows how to put a team together. Because for the last 3-4 years, we haven't had someone in place that knows how to put a team together. As New York, again, is on the verge of being shut out. Now, I want to start with Blake Griffin out west. I don't think I would have re-signed in the Clippers. I don't think that they can put together a team that can remain in the playoffs. Especially with the acquisition of Jimmy Butler to Minnesota. I really think that the Clippers drop out of the top 8 next season. Without Chris Paul at the helm, running the show, I don't think Patrick Beverley is that guy. Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, they do the same thing. I don't think Austin Rivers is really a starter in this league unless something happens over the summer that I'm just unaware of. But I don't like the direction that the Clippers have gone into. I think they fall out of playoffs. But I have to say that Minnesota, as we speak right now, is probably the most improved team during the free agency period right now. The most improved team. Yeah, I like Paul George going to OKC. That should better their chances. They lost Taj Gibson to Minnesota. Minnesota not only trades for Butler, they pick up Taj Gibson, and they also get Jeff Teague. Me personally, I wouldn't have traded Rubio. I think this was a great fit for Rubio. He's one of the few floor generals in the game that just looks to pass first opposed to shoot first. And now add Jimmy Butler to the fold, Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins just being a little older and maturing, it would have been a perfect fit for him. But I guess, especially out west, when you need a basket, you got to have a point guard that can create and get his own shot. And maybe Jeff Teague could do that better than Rubio. But I think right now, when you look at this team, you're going to go with Jeff Teague, Butler, Wiggins, Ding, Gorgio Ding, and Karl Anthony Towns. You got Taj Gibson coming off the bench. They'll probably re-sign Shabazz Muhammad. This is a team that I believe not only will make the playoffs, but I think they could be a 6th seed in the playoffs. It's a good look for them. I think they have won. I think they have won the offseason thus far. And it's not really. I don't think it's unrealistic that they get into the playoffs and they could be a thorn in someone's side. To me, they look pretty good on paper right now. Tibbs got what he wants. Some veterans over there between Butler and Gibson, familiar faces at that. So there will be extensions to his coaching style, his coaching ways on the court. So, good move by Minnesota. I think right now they're the most improved team in the offseason. But let's not forget about Paul George going to OKC. That's huge. Rumor is they're talking to Rudy Gay. That's good too. I think that right now they got a hole at the power forward position. I think they're okay in the front court. In the back court. You can go with Westbrook and Roberson, Paul George at the 3. You still got Steven Adams, but you're going to need somebody at the 4. If they sign Rudy Gay and put him at the 3, does Paul George buckle down and play the 4? That should be interesting. That would be interesting. I think he can do it, especially with the game being stretched out and away from the paint. The only person that players you have to worry about in the paint like that is possibly an older Zach Randolph, a LaMarcus Aldridge. That's about it. Everybody else is now stepping out and shooting. Once in a while, you might get Blake Griffin to back you down. But for the most part, the 4 position is now becoming around the arc. So it's not like Paul George will be muscled. Hey, shout out to my sister. She just joined us. Shout out to my cousin Perrin. He just joined us. So here's what. If you want to be part of the show, give me a call. The number 706-887-5828. 801-5926. So what's going on here is that clearly Minnesota has won the offseason. OKC has made a splash, but they can't be done. They have to make another move. They needed to resign Taj Gibson. They got that. To me, they have to find somebody else to go in that front court for this to be a great move for them, or let's put it this way, a move to go up in the standings. I believe there was a 6 seed last season. Right now, they're probably still a 6 seed, but if they can get one more piece, a nice piece for them, I doubt if they can do it. It's going to take some creativity, but if they could find a way to get Paul Millsap over there, that would be a good look for them. Paul Millsap to play power forward between George and Steven Adams, that would be a good look for him. I think he's asking for too much. He's still available. He's still on the market. I just don't see it happening. Moving right along to the team that knocked out OKC in the first round, Houston. On paper, adding a Chris Paul to a backcourt with James Harden, it seems like, hey, the debates can begin. The debates can begin. Is that the best backcourt in the game? I will say this. Let's slow down and let's see how they play. Me personally, I want to know how it works. Chris Paul playing off the ball at times, I've never seen him do that. He's not the spot-up shooter like a Curry or an old Mark Price back in the days or John Stockton that maybe can wait for the ball to come to him and he can put it up. Chris Paul is definitely a point guard who's willing to pass the ball and distribute. He's not necessarily a shoot-first point guard. But when he does go to score, he has to be in rhythm. I don't know if he's a catch-and-shoot kind of guy. You know, that's the thing. Even with LeBron and Kyrie Irving struggles playing off the ball sometimes because he's not a catch-and-shoot guy. But if he's in a rhythm where he started by creating and he was handling the ball, then he doesn't miss anywhere on the court. My question is, with Harden having to be Harden by having the ball, can Chris Paul be effective? Sure, the easy answer is they'll figure it out. They're great players. And in the D'Antoni system, there's no bad shot, there's no bad offense. Only time there's bad offense or bad time he complains about a shot is when you don't take the shot. The one thing you don't see in a D'Antoni offense is a shot clock violation because you are permitted to shoot the ball whenever you want. And it doesn't matter who you are. Now, I would say this, the acquisition of Chris Paul will probably help the growth of Capella. I think Chris Paul will set him up somewhat and try to create a new DeAndre Jordan. And quiet as kept, the guy has a little bit of talent there. He has some footwork. So it won't surprise me. It won't surprise me at all. But, yes, Chris Paul and James Harden, we have to see how that works. We have to see how that works. So you have the two biggest, well, I say two of the remaining big free agents left is Gordon Hayward, who visited with Miami. He's here with Boston today. And he's going to visit with Utah on Monday. If he signs with Boston, that's a good look. And it may salvage the offseason for Boston. But clearly, I talked about my Knicks being shut out. But the Celtics has got to be the biggest loser in the offseason right now. With the movement of Paul George and Jimmy Butler, that just tells me that Danny Ainge played his hand wrong because these was guys that were available and he had the assets to make it happen and he didn't get it done. He passed up on the number one pick to acquire more picks so that he can have a more attractive hand for these respective teams. but yet didn't find a way to get it done. At this point, he's the biggest loser. Bringing in Hayward over to this team, sure, it's going to improve the team, but will it be enough to beat Cleveland in the finals? Because regardless to what Cleveland does, they're still the favorite in the East to go back to the finals. There's really only three threats to go to the finals. The third one is not that big of a threat. But it's Cleveland, Boston, Washington. And the dark horse is Milwaukee. So to me, Danny Ainge is clearly the big loser here. He lost at the trade deadline by not pulling the trigger to get a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler. And the same thing happened leading up to the free agency. Now he's left. There was rumors that he was talking about Blake Griffin. Now he's left with Gordon Hayward only. Word is he's trying to set up a hand to go get Anthony Davis. You have a better chance of getting Cousins than you do Anthony Davis. But if Danny Ainge is able to find a way to pull off the Anthony Davis heist, then I owe him an apology, and that would be one of the biggest acquisitions in recent history by trade. If he's able to pry away Anthony Davis from the Pelicans. If you want to be part of the show, give me a call, 706-801-5926. About 12:45 a.m. this morning, I had to go down to the precinct. Had to report a robbery that took place in Australia last night as Pacquiao was robbed by the judges last night. This Joe Horn, the Hornet, walked away with Pacquiao's belt after 12 rounds of some exciting boxing last night, but he did not deserve the victory as Pacquiao was robbed by the judges, as all three judges had it 115. They had it in favor of Horn. I believe it was 115, 113. Unbelievable. I watched that fight from start to finish. I cannot believe the outcome of the fight determined by the three judges. You talk about home cooking. It was fought in the backyard of a 16-0 former school teacher. And let me say something to you about this guy, Horn. He came to fight. He don't have no style at all other than just being on you, being relentless. Unbelievable. He put, you know what it was to me? And for you NBA fans, you got to walk with me on this. It was like watching Delanova guard Stephen Curry as Horn was boxing or fighting Pacquiao. Clearly, Pacquiao and Curry are the better players. Those two, Deli and Horn, they didn't have the game to match up to him, so all they did was just come at them, be relentless, put pressure on him, and just like Curry found ways to score and be the better of the two in the matchup, same thing Pacquiao did last night. Pacquiao nearly knocked him out. The ref nearly stopped the fight in the 9th round. I acknowledge that the guy was relentless and didn't quit. I acknowledge that he did hit Pacquiao with a few shots, but make no mistakes about it. It wasn't like Pacquiao won every round. No, the guy won maybe about 4 rounds, possibly 5, but 4 rounds I say for sure he won. But it was no way he gets the victory. Unbelievable. Pacquiao was robbed. Was it one of Pacquiao's better performances? Maybe not. He's 38 years old. He's got many fights under the belt. You know, he's an older guy now. But he clearly won this fight. He clearly did enough to win this fight. Unbelievable outcome. Unbelievable. Could not believe what I saw. The fight wasn't close enough for Horn to win this fight. And immediately they asked Pacquiao, and he says he's ready for a rematch, and he'll come back out here, and rightfully so. But unbelievable, just that was a robbery. We see this every so often in boxing where the judges don't have it right, but this one was a blatant robbery, just blatant. Speaking of boxing, you got some upcoming fights coming up. You do have the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor that I'm definitely not interested in. But yes, you do have that coming up. And that's in August next month. And then you have the one that I think we all want to see, especially us boxing fans, Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. That's the fight of the year right there. Should be a good fight. I would love to see Floyd take on the winner of that one. Oh, yeah, I would love to see that. But I doubt that happens. Unless they're talking $200-300 million, I can see Floyd stepping up. But that's some of the major boxing coming up. So hopefully we can get to that and maybe a couple of tune-ups in between there. One thing about boxing, every now and then a fight come up that you wasn't aware of. Just like I wasn't aware of this fight last night. I wasn't aware of it until about a week or so before it. And so occasionally fights pop up that you're unaware of, and it's good tune-up for something major to come up. But yeah, those are the two big fights coming up soon. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, I should say, and Triple G and Canelo Alvarez. I have Canelo Alvarez against Triple G, but it can go either way. Triple G is definitely no slouch to the game. None whatsoever. Right. I want to touch on a little bit baseball. Listen, I feel bad for baseball. This is baseball's time of the year. Growing up as a kid in New York, America's pastime was baseball and apple pie. I don't know where the luster went or fell off. I don't know what happened to the zeal and the zest that baseball once possessed. But baseball is no longer the big sport that it was. Is anybody out there aware that the All-Star game is next week? No. It snuck up on me too. If they weren't talking about Aaron Judge being in the home run derby, I wouldn't have realized that the All-Star game was next week. And part of that is because the NBA is sizzling. I mean, first of all, the NBA playoffs was corny. It really was corny. The best series was probably Boston and Washington. That was probably the best series. You had a good series between the Clippers and Utah, but it didn't seem like it generated the excitement as Boston and Washington did. So that was a good series. Golden State swept everybody. Cleveland only lost one game. What made Cleveland and Golden State an exciting matchup is because it was just anticipated. But the playoffs was corny. It really was. But the offseason has been bananas. The NBA award show, the draft, the trades, and now the free agency. And baseball can't get a headline. They can't get a back page. And this is their time. And you know what I'm going to do? Watch Summer League basketball when I'm done with you guys. I'm going to watch Summer League basketball. Basketball right now is in full effect. So much that the 3-on-3 basketball was exciting. And again, how many of us knew that the baseball all-star game was just next week? Not many. But my question, especially to the Yankee fans out there, I think Aaron Judge is destined to be a star in New York. I see him with a 10 to 15 year career in New York easily. My question to you Yankee fans out there, should Aaron Judge participate in the home run derby? Some feel that the home run derby can mess up a swing of a player, especially a young player, because you're going out there for one reason only. They hit for the fences. Your swing is a little bit more powerful. You're not trying to hit where they're not. You're trying to hit it over the wall. And you're doing it against pitching that you don't see on a regular basis, which is slower. And that is why some of the young baseball players, Major League Baseball players, do not play baseball video games because it messes them up. So my question to you guys are, with the home run derby coming up, should Aaron Judge participate in the home run derby? I'm going to say no. He's a young guy. He doesn't need to go up there hitting 65 miles an hour pitches, trying to slug it over the wall. Listen, the last Yankee to do this, he wasn't as young as him, but he's no longer a Yankee shortly after that. That was Robinson Cano. Listen, if I'm the Yankees, I know, listen, baseball, the All-Star game is not like the NBA All-Star game. Even though the NBA All-Star game is becoming a little bit corny and watered down because it's just not competitive, but it doesn't seem to have the excitement. The only thing that has the excitement around the All-Star in baseball is the home run derby. And you want to see guys like Stanton from Miami Marlins. You want to see Bryce Harper. You want to see guys like Aaron Judge from the Yankees going up there swinging for the fences and so forth. But do you want to jeopardize this young man's swing? Will he be capable of overcoming that? And to my Met fans out there, like myself, they're in third place, 9 games out of first, with the National League West having 2 teams well over 500. I don't know if they can see a wild card spot this year with the injuries that they have. But Jason DeGrom has come back. His last 3 starts, he's 3-0 with an earned run average of .75. Does he become the lone representative to get into the All-Star game for New York, or is it Conforto? I say it's Jason DeGrom. He needs to get in. He needs to be in. But it's going to be a long season for the Mets. The Red Sox, they came from nowhere. It looks like they were rebuilding for a couple of years, and all of a sudden, that rebuilding process has gone to the point where now they're in first place in the East, and they look like a real threat to stay there for the year. It's going to come down to them and the Yankees. We'll see what happens going into the second half of the season. You know, the trading deadline is coming up. I think it ends on July 31st. So you'll see some big names being tossed out there. We'll talk about some of that later on as the NBA appears to die down during the NBA free agent frenzy. But baseball right now is suffering, if you ask me. They really are. They cannot get a headline past the NBA. And here's the sad thing about it. If Major League Baseball does not generate the headlines at this point right now as we speak, come first, second week of August, they'll never have it because football is going to be right there. And football, surprisingly, I don't know when this happened, but it's been said for about the last 10, 15 years that football has been America's pastime. When we was kids growing up, talk to me, Jamel, talk to me, Benji. When we was kids growing up, it was baseball and apple pie. Now it's football. I disagree. But nevertheless, come August, football is going to get the headlines. It's going to get the headlines. So baseball needs to gain that momentum right now, because baseball is becoming a dying breed. They're gonna need something to inject into the game to get to the area where it was once upon a time. Because right now they're losing it. Well, that's gonna do it for my show. I appreciate everybody who joined in, had something to say. We'll do it again soon. Chop it up with you guys. Y'all be blessed. Y'all have a good day. Peace and blessings. This is Ramel for Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.